Welcome back, everyone. It's one of your favorite types of videos. It's Jeremy looking at a spreadsheet. So, I wanted to go over some of the big changes to the tiering structure. I mean, I guess not big changes for a lot of these, but I just wanted to highlight a couple things just so people are aware of the values that might have changed. Because just when you see a whole big list, it's hard to see what's different. So, here we've got everyone who submitted cost suggestions for everything. I averaged these out. That's this column here. This is where they were. This is the final and then I rounded everything that was in the average column, rounded everything with normal rounding rules for like 0.4 or less, rounded down, 0.5 or more, rounds up. So that's how we determined some things. Here's the difference from where they were. And there's a couple of little eccentricities that I wanted to kind of highlight here. So here we go. First change is Dragapult. Dragapult got moved down one. The reason this is highlighted in red is because I ended up kind of doing this all by Zane pushed the value down a little bit, but I ended up moving the value down by one all by myself because I put it at 16. My reasoning behind that is Dragapult is a Pokemon that is, in my opinion, very item dependent, and a lot of the items that it used to depend on being heavy duty boots, choice specs, life orb, stuff like that, not in the game. A role that it also sometimes has is screen setter. Light clay is not a part of the game, so this thing tends to have to run spell tag or Dragon Fang, something like that, to get a power boost. And I don't think that's enough for it. I think that moves it down because it's lost a lot of versatility. But most people still see it as one of the most versatile Pokemon in the format, which I can understand. Garchomp is 3 points more expensive than it used to be. And the reason for that, I don't know why I have this being -3, because this is, I guess I did this the wrong way, but it's fine. Garchomp's going to be 3 points more expensive, Mega Garchomp rather, but that is because of the new kind of policy that we have where Megas cannot be tiered lower than their non-Mega counterparts. That kind of came about with Zeng asking last season, hey, why can I just use Slowbro and not Mega Evolve it? Then I basically have a discount Slowbro. I think that's a little bit more of there's a lot more nuances to that argument, but I think to kind of solve everything, we just think this is the best way to proceed. There's a lot of discussion of that last season. Excadrill is the next one that got a point increase. Again, this is highlighted green just because basically Dakota did this on his own by putting it at 17. I'm not meaning to call anybody out, but I always think it's I just thought it was an interesting stat thing. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe I'm just going to get rid of that because it's not important. So other cost things. Scizor went up. Yeah, sorry, I guess I should highlight Excadrill. Excadrill, I think, has a point cost increase overall, not just because of Dakota, but also I think he's right to call for a little bit of an increase. I think we landed 15 is probably the right place to be because it's inarguably one of the best spinners in the metagame. In a metagame without heavy-duty boots, hazard clearing is paramount. So I do think that this is probably a worthy cost upgrade, even though I didn't select it. But I do agree with Dakota's assessment that this should be more valuable. 17 is a little too rich for my blood, but ended up at 15. I think that's the right value. Scizor also went up, I think deservedly so. Now has Roost again, now has Defog again. The kind of defensive utility sets back on the menu, and like I said, hazard removal, very important. Mega Slowbro goes up in cost. Again, that's just to keep it in line with what regular Slowbro costs, because we can't have Mega Slowbro basically being itemless, untrickable, unknockoffable Slowbro costing 5 points less. That doesn't make a ton of sense. Mega Aerodactyl decreased in points. I think that looking at it, this is at least in part driven by me wanting to reduce the cost. I don't really remember why, other than maybe I think Mega Aerodactyl is a little bit overvalued. I don't think it lost anything, so maybe I don't know. I don't remember my reasoning behind that one, but that's what that is. After that, we have King Gambit decreasing a little bit in value. I guess probably not for any point in particular, other than, I guess, again, reduced item options. Like, sure, it ran leftovers a lot, which is still in the game, but you don't really want to have a leftovers hog on the team, seeing as how leftovers is a very important item. So that's potentially the reason. Megalopony actually with a 2-point reduction. Megalopony, one of the better megas in the league. We saw Mike do really well with it last season and in season 24. But here in this dex, it doesn't have return. It has to either run Facade or I think Body Slam are its two best stab options, which is a significant decrease for it. So that's why it's being bumped down to 14. Quackball also an increase, again, because the fact that it's a spinner, and also it's just really good in the format, in my opinion. Slow King, having the price jacked up, that is just to keep it in line with what we kind of discussed last season. We felt it was undervalued at 11. Mega T-Tar coming up, that is not really anything for Mega T-Tar, although some things to focus on with Mega T-Tar. I guess it's to keep it in line with Tyranitar, have it the same cost as its non-Mega counterpart. But I do think Mega T-Tar in this metagame offers a lot, maybe a little bit more than in the past, because one of the downsides to it is you couldn't really use it as a sand setter because it couldn't hold Smooth Rock. Smooth Rock not being in the game is really good for Mega Tyranitar as a sand setter, because not only can it set sand, it can Mega Evolve to set up sand again if you need to. You can hold on to that Mega Evolution, Mega Evolve again. Since both Tyranitars have Sand Stream, it will again set up sand. That's actually, I think, really valuable in this. If you want to go for a sand team, I think it's something to consider. Archaludon, a decrease in value. Lost Body Press is the biggest thing. And then also, used to be really good on rain teams. Not that it's bad on rain teams now, but rain teams less powerful because of no Damp Rock. So it makes it a little bit trickier to deal with. Or, I mean, to, exploit. Cost increase for Corviknight. Didn't gain anything, but it being such a good defogger is very important. Gliscor, this is a big point reduction, and me and Dakota really brought down the cost on this, and I still would not draft it at 11. Something people are forgetting about Gliscor. No Toxic Orb in the game. So it can't take advantage of Toxic Heal unless you switch it in and it gets poisoned on its own. That's way too situational. Also doesn't have Roost, so the only recovery that this Pokemon has is Rest. If anybody wants to prove me wrong and draft it at 11 because they think it's a good value, go for it, but this Pokemon I don't think is worth it. Even at 11 points, at a 3-point cost reduction, still very overvalued. Male Basculegion and Male Basculegion is 1 point more expensive, and I don't really know why. Okay, you know what? This is a good time to learn. Let's look up Basculegion. Actually, let's just go to the team builder, right? Because I forget the differences between the two Basculegions. And let me double check here. So they both have the important ability. So they're identical. Male Basculegion is stronger on the attack side, but it also doesn't have a ghost stab. Didn't gain one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, oh, we don't need this anymore. I don't get the cost increase on this. I kept it where it was. Dakota bumped it. Zane bumped it a little bit. I don't know. I'm out on this one. Mega Beedrill costs a decrease. I think that is just you're gonna use a mega slot on your team for Beedrill. Here's the thing. This could be a good thing because one of the new rules that we're doing in this, and this is also a good time to highlight it, there is no limit on how many megas are on your team. If you want to draft 3 mega Pokemon, go for it. No problem with that. Obviously, you can still only evolve or Mega Evolve 1 Pokemon in battle at a time. But if you want to have Mega Slowbro and Mega Clefable, let's say, because those are two Megas that you might hold off on Mega Evolving until the time is right. You could have both of them on your team and just Mega Evolve whichever one you need. I think Mega Beedrill is probably a little bit easier to fit onto teams due to the fact that it's not your only Mega now. So we'll see where that goes. Mega Aggron, a point bump. I think that's probably a little bit just due to its popularity as the wall. It's very good in doubles right now. I think it is still a pretty solid Pokemon. Heavy Slam, Body Press, stuff like that does make it quite good. So we'll see where that goes. Floette Eternal. This shouldn't even be on the list. It wasn't in Nat Dex, but we'll talk about it for a second here. Ended up at 9 points. It's tough because this Pokemon has regular Floette Eternal has very limited, a very limited move pool, and I mean so does Mega Floette, but Mega Floette's so powerful because of Fairy Aura and the stat boost it gets from being a Mega tends not to matter in most cases. Regular Floette is going to do the exact same things except maybe have an item option. I'm interested to see if anybody takes this and how they use it, because that's kind of uncharted territory. Skeledirge gets a point increase. Don't totally agree with that one. That's just kind of like, no heavy duty boots hurts this mon a lot. Unaware Pokemon, I think, tend to be very good in a limited format like this, especially an early meta format where offense is so big. So maybe that's why. I don't know if we're going to come across on the list, but Ditto also tends to thrive in situations like that. Chimecho. I got to fix that because it's not supposed to be 8 points for Chimecho. It's probably supposed to be 8 points for Mega Chimecho. So I'll address that, make sure. I'll do that right now in the sheet because otherwise I'll forget. Let me do this on the side over here real quick. Any other... So... Another thing that we'll probably end up doing in the off-season event here is we're going to be allowing ad drops. Now, we don't usually do ad drops in off-season events, just due to the fact that, usually it's such a limited pool in such a short time, we don't bother with it. But I do think that this is a situation we kind of want to stress test things, so I think this is a good time to do it. It's going to be a very experimental time here. Diggersby moved down one. Seems to be some Diggersby hate. I don't think... I guess this is worse because it doesn't have return, so I guess I agree with that. It's got to rely on Mega Kick if you're brave enough. Oh, never mind. So this isn't Mega Diggersby hate. This isn't Diggersby hate. This is legitimate, yeah. So, because I know that there was... People wanted to move Diggersby down last season, even if we were still in Nat Dex. But no return means you have to rely on Mega Kick or Body Slam. That's big. Also, no Choice Band. So that's another mark against this Pokemon. Mega Pinsir got moved down. Again, no return or Body Slam. Galarian Slowking got moved. Galarian Slowbro got moved up. Again, I think that's just a tax on the Slow Boys. Although it might not be as bad as in past seasons because of the lack of heavy-duty boots. Serena has a little bit of a cost increase. Same reason as like Quaquaval and Excadrill. Spinners are valuable. Aerodactyl, a little bit of a cost increase. It looks like Mike was really high in Aerodactyl. Maybe it's the pressure thing, because I don't think that is untrue. I think pressure is going to be very big in this metagame, particularly with the limited amount of protects. Only 8 protects, and you can PP stall them. That's maybe you can't PP stall protects, I'm realizing, because I think they changed it last gen where unless you were targeting the Pokemon with pressure, it didn't decrease the PP. Either way, I do think, because there has been an overall decrease in the amount of PP on some moves, so I do think it is still relevant. Fortress with a cost increase. Oh, Belly Bolt with a cost increase. Oh, it looks like I did that almost all on my own. I don't really... Look, I'm not going to... I put what I put. I guess I just think it's really good and defensive in this format. Not a lot of good electric types, maybe. I don't know why I put 10. That seems high, but I'll live with it. Fortress, slight cost increase. Again, spinner. Garganacl cost decrease. I'll be open about this one. I put 5. I think you all are underestimating how much worse it is with only 8 protects and the decrease in damage on Salt Cure. I think this is going to be incredibly underwhelming defensively. Rock is not a great defensive type. I think it's going to struggle. Mega Abomasnow moved up, just again to bring it in line with the Abomasnow. This also has the same thing going for it that I talked about with Mega T-Tar, how it might actually be a more reliable hail setter because it can Mega Evolve. If you're in a weather war, it can overwrite someone else's weather. If you have Abomasnow in, and then they switch in T-Tar and overwrite your hail, then you can Mega Evolve into Mega Abomasnow and put your snow back up. Ditto cost increase, like we talked about. Ditto very good in offensive metagames. Cleavor cost increase. Easier to get up rocks, gets defog. I think it's probably good in this metagame. Aggron with a general cost increase. Again, Mike driving that up pretty much all on his own by 3 points. Gonna have to pay premium for Aggron in this meta. Mega Banette with cost increase. Again, Dakota exclusively raising that up. Didn't get any new additions to the moveset. So this seems like an intentional slight at me. Mega Absol moved up a little bit. I think knock offers are good. Hazard control is important, so Magic Bounce is kind of good to have, especially with being able to be freed up and run multiple Megas potentially. Absol is going to find a niche on teams more often. Altaria, slight cost increase. It's a good defogger, I think. Mega Ampharos, slight cost increase. I can't justify that one. I think Mega Ampharos is a Pokemon that I don't think I'd spend Mega points on just because it's... I don't know what to do with it. I don't see the design intent. Stunfisk, slight decrease in cost. Absol, slight increase. Some of these are just kind of like little tweaks and preferences. Slight increase on a Mega Camerupt. I think that's okay. Like having a 1 point Mega when you can have multiple Megas is probably better. So I'm okay with this. This makes sense. More Pico and Mr. Rhyme. Rapid Spin support. A little bit more expensive. So those are the changes to old Pokemon. We're also going to real quick go over... Let me make sure I'm still recording good. Yeah, it's still capturing just fine. Let's play around with this edit a little bit. Make it look a little prettier for screens if anybody's watching. So... we're going to run through the newly introduced Megas and talk about where their cost ended up. And maybe I'll just give a little bit of thoughts on this. Mega Chandelure. I voted this Pokemon to be less expensive. I think it's probably about the cost or maybe one more than regular Chandelure. I struggle with this Pokemon because while it's very powerful, it's not particularly fast, not particularly bulky. It doesn't do anything different than regular Chandelure. So I struggled to find the value and it ended up at 11 points. Mega Chestnut, very defensive. I think this is probably 1 or 2 points higher than regular Chestnut because, again, it does do roughly the same thing, but better. I think Chestnut doesn't rely on items as much as a Pokemon like Chandelure did. That's why my feeling is different about the cost of Chandelure versus the cost of Chestnut, even though I think they're comparable in the fact that they are basically just their base form with a tiny bump. Chimecho ended up at 8 points. We were kind of all over the place on how much this thing should cost. I think it's like a setup version of Bronzong. It's like if you're gonna run an offensive Bronzong, that's Chimecho. That doesn't sound great, but I do think that given the right matchup, I think it can thrive. Mega Clef. I think these shouldn't be ones. This is not what I used for the averaging thing. So ignore this whole column here, to be honest. I don't know what ended up happening there. these are what the costs were. It was based on this sheet, so don't worry about those ones. It didn't impact this. So Mega Clef. Really difficult to evaluate this Pokemon because I think on paper, Mega Clef is worse in a lot of ways than regular Clef. I think this is a great Pokemon to draft if you wanted Clef but couldn't get Clef, because Clef is one of the most knocked off Pokemon in the metagame. You always switch it in on knocks. It doesn't need its item. It's nice to have it, but it doesn't need it. So if you want to draft Clefable just to keep it in the back and just like, man, Magic Bounce would be great here, let me Mega Evolve this turn and take care of it, cool. If not, I think it's just slightly more expensive than regular Clefable. Let me see if I have the thing on the side here. How much did regular Clefable cost? 13. If you really needed Clefable and couldn't get it, I think if you have the points, getting Mega Clef is a nice option. Mega Crab. It's tough with this Pokemon. I think it gets Swords Dance Mach Punch, which is with Iron Fist is very good, but again, it's not a particular benefit over regular Crab, which is not a Pokemon that I want on my team. I do think if people are allowed multiple Megas, I think some of these low tier Megas might be a little bit more attractive though. Mega Delphox, we knew from day one this was going to be a really good Pokemon. Levitate, Psychic Fire, all of those things together make this really good. It is a Pokemon that you're going to need Hazard Control on your team to take care of. People have kind of let Hazard Control slip by in the past couple seasons due to the fact that they, like, Heavy Duty Boots is like, oh, I'm not bringing my spin this week, I'll just bring Heavy Duty Boots, which ends up meaning people don't set up hazards as often because they know it's devalued by Heavy Duty Boots. I think people's mindsets need to change with no Heavy Duty Boots, limited Rapid Spinners. I think people really need to examine getting up hazards. Mega Dragonite, only a slight cost increase over regular Dragonite, I believe. Let me see if I can find regular Dragonite's cost real quick. Regular Dragonite, where are you? 15 points. Mega Dragonite's 16 points. It's mostly the same Pokemon. I think there's definitely situations in which Mega Dragonite does better than regular Dragonite. It's a special attacker, and then also this is another one that you could maybe potentially use as a, like, you could stay regular Dragonite. I don't know. I guess there's no benefit to staying regular Dragonite, but it does like lose a little bit of attack as regular Dragonite. So you might want from the Mega Evolution. So maybe that's something. Could be interesting, but again, this is because of multi-scale. This is even more important for you to be able to control hazards. Drampa. I don't know what to do with this Pokemon. I don't think it is a significant benefit to regular Drampa. I think that it is more expensive because I think regular Drampa is like 2 or 3 points, and this has ended up being 7 points. It is definitely stronger. It's definitely bulkier, but I don't think with the movesets that you're going to run on, a lot of people seem to like running this in Rain because you can run Thunder, Hurricane, and Hydro Pump. That doesn't appeal to me because those are not stab moves. So you're missing out. Like, Draco Meteor is going to be stronger unless you're going against a Fairy type or a Steel type. Or those other moves are super effective. I don't even think that those are particularly great coverage moves when they're not stabs. So that's why I'm down on Mega Drampa. Mega Embor. This is a tough one to think about because it's like Mold Breaker's not a flashy ability, particularly with its dual stab. So that one's a little less exciting, but it's strong, it's bulky. I definitely do think that if someone takes it, they're going to get potentially even like 5 kills in this, and considering we're only playing maximum 6 games, I think it's pretty good for an 8-point Pokemon. Mega Excadrill, 16 points. Regular Excadrill, looking at it over here on the side, because I know we bumped it. How much does regular Excadrill cost? 15 points. And this costs 18 points. It says 16. This is wrong. I hope I haven't been given incorrect numbers on all of these. That's embarrassing. Hang on, guys. Oh boy. Okay, that 16 is definitely wrong because Mega Excadrill is 18 points. So let me just check the other ones real quick because I may have been lying to you this whole time, which is great because that means I need to throw out this recording. Mega Chandelure, 11 points. Good. Mega Chestnut, 10 points. Good. Chimecho, 8 points. I know that's right. Mega Clef, 14 points. That's right. Mega Crabominable. 8 points. That's right. So how'd this get fucked up? Embor, 8 points. Drampa, 7 points. Okay, so we're good up to that point. This is 18 points. Mega Excadrill being at 18 points. So what happened here? Not important. Not important. Now we have to ignore this, unfortunately, because that's obviously wrong. I gotta follow along as I go. Okay, Mega Excadrill, 18 points. It's like, what if Excadrill was faster and stronger? Its ability is kind of a non-factor, so that sucks. But at least in singles, there's some niche times where maybe a Pokemon won't be able to, like, it's on low health and it's got a Wish in the air and it can't throw up a Protect to save itself. I've also seen people say you can Rapid Spin on a Protect to get a speed boost. Even though they Protect, you can kind of take advantage of the Protect that way. That's kind of an interesting concept because you still have the secondary effect of a thing that can trigger when going through the Protect. Maybe that's something to consider. But it also has to be a contact move. Maybe a poison jab through a Protect to get a poison. That's the only other thing I can maybe think of. As far as secondary effect contact moves that Excadrill gets, there might be more, but those are the only ones I can think of. Mega Gator. Now I gotta double check all of these before I say them. Mega Gator did end up at 12 points. Really good wall breaker. This is not a sweeper. If anybody tries to Dragon Dance and sweep with this, I don't think that is the most you're going to get out of it. This is a Swords Dance and Oko something kind of Pokemon. I think there's still going to be a lot of things faster than this, so it's going to be hard to really sweep with it. So that's where I'm at. Oh yeah, Floette we talked about already. Mega Floette, 16 points. This is another Pokemon that is a wall breaker. Especially if you can get up a Calm Mind, if you have maybe a more specially offensive team, or you've eliminated the physical threats. Mega Floette gets up a Calm Mind. It's just going to be clicking Draining Kiss, Moonblast, Calm Mind. I don't even know what you need the last move to be. Maybe it gets Synthesis. I can't recall for sure. But Mega Floette is going to be a threat. Mega Frostlass. Let me make sure that this is actually this amount of points. Mega Frostlass, in fact, 15 points. I think Mega Frostlass is going to be pretty good. Being a rock weak Pokemon is a little bit harmful to it, but the being able to set up the Veil by itself plus having a defense boost, this can live some really strong physical hits. I calced it before this came out. A max HP Frostlass. If you're using this as like Will-O-Wisp, Hex, and then like you'd probably be running Blizzard and Aurora Veil. I think that set could be good. That Pokemon is not. I'm gonna make a proclamation. Let me do the calc on the side. Actually, I guess I can do the calc right here. Let me make sure this is framed up good on OBS. Good enough. Switch over to champions. Frostlass, Mega, max HP versus Scizor. Do I have a banded one? No. Okay, we'll just do that one. This is crazy. So it's 32. Adamant. Technician. Choice band. Oh no, choice band's not in the game. Right. So ignore that. I was gonna do choice band. This is mega snow warning. So snow is up, and let's put up Aurora Veil. 34% from an Adamant Technician Scizor. So what is that? 4.44% chance to Oko, even with no investment. Let's say Hex. Because also you're running Will-O-Wisp, it's even more than that. So if you get the burn on this thing, Hex is doing 50%, guaranteed to hit KO. Bullet Punch is now doing less than 20%. I think this Pokemon has a lot of really interesting ways that it can be a problem. That's a defensive set. You could also just run Nasty Plot, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Blizzard. Very scary. Glamora is... I was worried about Glamora because I think Glamora more than any Pokemon... Or not more than any Pokemon. As much as any Pokemon. Is a Pokemon that is defined by its ability to... It's different... Excuse me. It's defined by its different possible items, being Focus Sash, Red Card, Air Balloon, Power Herb. Those are probably the four biggest ones I've seen. I've seen Heavy Duty Boots ones to be a reliable spinner. I can't say I've seen too many choice using ones, but I think that Mega Glamora, I was worried because a lot of people, the original speculations, they were going to give it Toxic Debris or Corrosion, which Glamora already gets. If it had done that, would have been bad. This gives it a significant power boost, as well as being at, I believe, 101 speed is really important speed tier to break. There's a lot of stuff at 100. I think Mega Glamora can be really solid, although I don't think it's like an exciting Pokemon, but I think it's going to be pretty good. Mega Golurk. I don't think this is a good Pokemon. I think that this is basic. This is Golurk again, except now you can't do the fun stuff like run Dynamic Punch and Stone Edge. It's got Unseen Fist. I don't know if Poltergeist is Contact, so that Poltergeist doesn't qualify for it. Earthquake doesn't qualify for it. You'd have to run like Shadow Punch, which is a very weak move. So basically has no ability. That's not the end of the world. But it is just like this Pokemon doesn't have a significant niche over regular Golurk, in my opinion. Mega Greninja. I don't know personally that I would pay premium for Mega Greninja if Greninja is available. I do think it is a slight bump. Because also you can get you can stay regular Greninja, get a Protean change, Mega Evolve, and get another Protean change. That's kind of a cool thing you can do with it. Plus the speed tier is great. It's very fast. I think it might be one of, if not the fastest Pokemon in the metagame. So that's definitely something to look at. Let me sort real quick and see. Oh, that's base stats. I don't want to sort by base stats. I want to sort by speed. Yeah, 142 speed. The only things faster than it are Mega Arrow and Mega Beedrill. Speed ties with Dragapult. So I think that's pretty good. Sorry, let me just real quick, because I'm going to forget if I don't resort these things. Okay. Mega Hawlucha. Mega Hawlucha is another confusing one because I think that it is really limited. I don't think it's bad. I'll start off there because it's got a good speed tier. It's got a good attack stat. Its ability leaves a little bit to be desired because I actually think that it is like having 100% accurate high jump kicks is nice. You can still be stymied by ghosts. Like, I think if you're running against a team that has a ghost Pokemon, you're probably still running close combat in a lot of situations, so that way you don't miss the high jump kick and take 50% damage on your Mega Pokemon. And I also think there's a lot of situations in which you would probably like your opponent not to be able to rely on a Hurricane to hit you, but that it's now guaranteed to hit you. I don't love this Pokemon. I think it's strong and good, but it's like I wouldn't pay 15 for it. I won't be paying 15 for it. Mega Meganium I think is very good. it's not broken or anything. It's going to be easier to deal with in draft than it is on a ladder, but also it might be in some ways better because it's going to know what coverage it needs, whether it needs to bring grass coverage that week, probably should. Whether it needs Dazzling Gleam, or if it needs Earth Power, or if it needs Weather Ball. All great options for it. It's going to be very strong. Plus gets those syntheses, I don't know, that restore 2/3 of its HP. It's going to be really good. Meowstic male and female actually combining into one Pokemon. If you take Meowstic, you get Meowstic. Really no point in making them different. Might be a confusing thing when we're drafting them, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I think you just put Meowstic parentheses M if you're going to take it. But anyways, a lot of people say this is budget Zam. It is in a lot of ways. It's got a pretty good move set. It's very strong and very fast. If you wanted Zam, but you're upset that it's not in the metagame because it's too good, because it's way faster, it's stronger, it's got better SPDF. It gets access. I think this also this also gets access to Nasty Plot, but the Meowstic is going to do really good work for you. It's just worse on the ladder due to the fact that it is like, Mega Zam. Actually, no, Mega Zam's I think still legal in Champions OU. Scovillain. Mega Scovillain I think is really cool. It's going to be good for defensive or balanced teams, because if you Mega Evolve it, you can just kind of switch it in and burn something on command, essentially. It is a fire type, so you're going to need the hazard support on your team to kind of make this work. But I think it's a really interesting Pokemon. Like, you have a utility Mega Pokemon, which I don't think you see a lot of, and it's also not super exciting to have a utility Mega Pokemon, but this is going to be annoying. Skarmory's, if someone takes it, somebody's going to get like a 4-kill Mega Skarmory sweep at some point. If you use it right, because the idea behind it is stay as Mega Skarmory, or switch it in on a U-turn or something, and get a weak armor boost from regular Skarmory, and then you can Swords Dance, and then go to town. Or you just bring it in on a physical attacker that can't Oko Skarmy. Oh man, I'm having trouble here because I know Starmie is also coming up. Skarmory. You bring it in on a physical attacker that can't kill Skarmory. Swords Dance up, get hit with a physical move, Mega Evolve, sweep. I think it's a very likely thing to happen. And even though I just kind of laid out the game plan for it, good news and bad news is if somebody attacks you and does very little damage and gives you a weak armor boost, great, you sweep. If they don't attack you and they go into a different Pokemon, like they give you a free turn of Swords Dance, that just means you got to get to +2 for free. And that's also going to be difficult for people to deal with. Starmie. Voted on Starmie. Starmie's in the draft. A lot, like, I don't think Starmie should be in the draft. I think one of two things is going to happen. Either I think someone's going to fumble Starmie and not use it very effectively, and that means we'll have to potentially deal with it in Season 25. Or Starmie's going to be used very well, and it's not going to be fun because it's very difficult to deal with, and that then people are going to be like, oh, why did we allow this thing? I think those are the only two outcomes. I don't think people are going to be like, wow, Starmie's being used really well, but it's manageable. I don't see that happening. Then Victory Bell. Mega Victory Bell is really interesting because it's like Scovillain in the sense that it's kind of a defensive Pokemon. It's also kind of like Mega Banette. Mega Banette, for a long time, people have been saying is like, oh, it's a trade button. You bring in Mega Banette against a big threat, you click Destiny Bond, you get a kill. Like, you get to trade Mega Banette for whatever Pokemon you want. People are saying Victory Bell is similar, although it's really difficult because, like, I was playing a game and I had like a Mamoswine against a Victory Bell or Mega Victory Bell, and I'm like, I could clean KO this right now, but I don't want to lose Mamoswine because it's good in the rest of the game. Then you switch into something else as a Leech Seed goes up or a Sludge Bomb comes out and you get poisoned or you're losing some HP. It's like, okay, well, let me try to chip this down a little bit so that way it doesn't OHKO my Mamoswine when I KO it. And then it's just Strength Saps back. It's back to full health, and now all that chip is gone. It's a really interesting Pokemon for people to have to plan around. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I think those are the big things. I need to check the rules real quick to make sure there's nothing I want to change. Still doing 11 to 13 Pokemon. Draft points is going to be 15. I think that is all good. Point seller 115. No terrestrialization, obviously. We're playing in Champions OU Draft or Champions Draft. I'll make sure to get the name of that for sure. I think the biggest changes are going to be, we're still going to be doing ad drops, which we haven't done before. We'll do kind of everything like we did in season 24 for that. You may have as many may draft as many mega Pokemon as you want. Still keep in mind species clause, because I don't think there's a way around that in Pokemon Showdown. So keep in mind species clause. If you want to take Gyarados and Mega Gyarados, you can, but you cannot bring them to the same game. Keep that in mind. Items that are going to be banned. We're going to keep Bright Powder banned. I don't think Lax Incense is not in the game. They did just ban Quick Claw in Champions OU, so I don't know if people feel about that. Really shout out if you feel Quick Claw needs to be gone. I think that's probably the biggest things that we need to change. Everyone's going to play everyone once, so that's 5 weeks. And then the best two teams with the best 2 records are going to face off head-to-head in a championship game. I think that's all we need to go over. Let me know if you have any other questions. We're going to start drafting Friday morning at 9 a.m. Timer doesn't start until 5 p.m. and then the timer stops at 9 p.m. on Friday. So hopefully we can get a good amount of the draft done on Friday. I'd love to wrap it up before the end of the weekend. Then we can give some people some time to kind of play with their teams and figure out what they want to do and do around a week 0 ad drops. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye.